melt is when I'm ocean waves.
Today on Nova Legends podcast, I have Robinson basketball star Georgia Simonsen, who just made first team All State after a great season where she scored her 1,000th point for the Rams. She also led the Rams to the third straight Patriot District Championship, third straight Occoquan championship, and to another state tournament berth. Georgia, thanks for doing this. Nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you too.
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, you've done so much in your career, and I can't believe you have another year left. I mean, you've scored so many points, won so many big games. First of all, was that the first time you made first team All State? And was that this year with the first team?
No, I made first team All State last year.
Okay, so you're back to back first team All State. What does that mean to you? I mean, in this day of social media, and I mean, is that a really big milestone for you to achieve that? Are you the kind of person, you just kind of take it all in stride?
Yeah, I think it's a big achievement, something I am always working towards. I always just want to get better. So being awarded that means a lot to me because I mean it means my work has like paid off throughout the season.
Yeah. Do you think of yourself as a much different player than you were as a freshman? I mean, as a freshman, you and your sister Amelia, you guys were amazing. You had great success, and and I was talking to Coach Date about this, and he was telling me how much physically and how much more balanced you are and how strong you are. But do you consider yourself a much different player now than you were as a freshman?
I do, yeah. I was watching film from my freshman year not too long ago, and like I think my game like has completely changed. I have much more of a presence in the post than I did freshman year. I think I've learned like how to play my position better. Yeah, I think I'm just smarter overall, so I think that helps a lot. My freshman year, I was just trying to get used to that level of play, but yeah, I think overall I'm much different than I was freshman year.
Yeah. Well, what is your position? So when you play, you pop in and out of the post, you pop out, you shoot three pointers, you bring the ball up the court. You're a very comfortable player. When you're out there, you
Mhm.
just seem like you're doing what you really love. But what do you consider your position?
I do consider myself a post. I'm in the paint a lot of the time, so I think that's where I'm best at as well. So I would consider myself like power forward or post.
Yeah. Well, you come from a big family. I believe you're one of five children.
Yeah, yeah, one of
Wow.
five.
So I met your mom online. She seems wonderful. Were
Mhm.
your parents athletes too?
My dad played a lot of sports in college. My mom played softball and she did cheerleading, but all of my siblings play a lot of sports. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, how did you get into basketball?
I started playing because my sister was playing, and I started when I was pretty young, and I just kind of stuck with it because I think it was the sport I was best at. Other sports I've played like all of them, so none of them really, I didn't really like them as much, but basketball I did like a lot, so I just stuck with it from when I started.
But you're a very good volleyball player too, isn't that right? Or
Yeah, I'm somewhat good, I guess. I started playing freshman year because my dad wanted me to play a fall sport, so I just chose that one because my height helps a lot with that.
yeah, someone told me you were a really good volleyball player. As a matter of fact, the first time I heard about you, someone described you as a volleyball player, and that was your freshman year. And so I guess at that time you must have had a really good season.
Yeah, I was on the freshman team, so it was my first year playing. But yeah, I'm still playing now. But yeah, it's just a sport I play during the fall because I'm on off season with basketball.
Yeah. So you're not one of these people that believe you should practice basketball all year round.
I do, but since I'm not on the team, I don't have set things. So when I'm not playing like practices and games, I don't really have as many things to be doing. So as well as volleyball, I do my own training on the side, but I play volleyball just to stay in shape, like have some more I don't know what the word is. Like, just be conditioning with a team and stuff.
Yeah. There's not a lot of two
Structured.
sport. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, no, you're good, you're good.
Okay. There's not that many two sport athletes anymore. I mean, there's some, but not as many as when I played. We played football in the fall. We played basketball in the winter, and then we played baseball or soccer in the spring. And everyone did that. And if we lost to somebody in the fall, we try to beat them in basketball. If we lost them, we try to,
Mhm.
that's everyone was like that. But that's it's changed, and a lot of athletes just kind of train for one sport. I kind of feel like the more sports you play, the more competitive you are, the more you
Oh,
handle
yeah.
pressure better, and the more you handle things better. Do you feel being a volleyball player makes you a better basketball player?
I think so. I think, it's just a different type of like play. So I think it does make me much more competitive. As a person, I am very competitive. And so it's fun to compete in multiple different sports. But yeah, I do think playing volleyball makes me a better basketball player. Learning new, like, learning a new sport definitely helps all around. And then like certain parts of volleyball, like jumping and everything like that, definitely helps me in basketball as well. So I do think that.
But if you had, if it came down to choosing volleyball or basketball in college, it would be basketball.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Basketball for sure.
Now you call yourself competitive. Now I would imagine that would be fun around the house before other siblings. So did you guys have battles growing up?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. My family's super competitive, especially like when we're just playing like board games and stuff. It gets super competitive. Like my dad would play with us, and a lot of times ends up in fighting. But it just all the kids are super competitive all the time.
Does anyone cheat in categories?
Well, I cheat a lot of the time in the games, but
Yeah.
you got to do what you got to do to win. Is
Yeah,
what my motto is for
yeah,
it.
you got to win. So,
Uh,
so I'm not sure if you know the history so much because it's so old. So I was in like I guess like the 11th graduating class at Robinson. I was class of
okay.
'84. My sister was class of '82. She's in the Hall of Fame there, and she won 2 state championships as point guard at Robinson. And there was a player there named Ginger Rouse, and she was one of the first great players in women's college basketball in the area. Robinson has this, great tradition of basketball, but Ginger was a trailblazer. And it's funny when I see you play, you know, you are entering that realm with Ginger, and she's like this. She was a transformational player. But I feel like by the time you graduate, you might be Ginger's equal, or you might even outdo her. Who are your first like influence in basketball? Who'd you try to play like? When you started playing? Besides your sister,
Well,
besides your older sister.
growing up, Elena Deladon, we always like went to her games a lot of the time. My travel team when I was like in elementary school, we followed her a lot of the time. So mostly her. I wasn't really big on watching sports, but we went to a lot of like the local games and just watched like the colleges around my area, especially like as a team outing. So, but I looked up to her a lot of the time because she's pretty big. So, I relate to her.
Yeah, do you watch sports now, or do you still just
Yeah,
like?
somewhat. I usually
Yeah,
watch him with my dad some of the times, but not very often.
yeah. Well, you're out there practicing. What about
Yeah.
has Caitlin Clark had any effect on you? Because I feel like she has made women's basketball. She's raised the popularity where the women's game is outdrawing the men's game in a lot of occasions, which is never
Yeah.
it's never even been close. So she's been a transformational type of player as well. Do you watch her a lot?
I do. I watch a lot of her, like, especially a lot of her highlight clips. But I feel like we're just like very different as players, just like the position we play. But I do look up to her a lot. I think she's done a lot of good work with, again, bringing popularity to women's sports, which is really good. But she's a like long range shooter, and I don't really shoot like ever. But um, as players, I think we're different. But I think we do the same mindset. She's very competitive, and yeah, I feel like I relate to her in some other ways other than, like, the ways we play.
Yeah, you don't talk as much trash as Caitlin, do you?
Sometimes more in AAU season,
Yeah.
but during high school, no, I don't talk that much trash.
Yeah. When did you know that you were pretty good? When did it occur to you that hey, basketball might be a good sport for me?
I think probably in 8th grade, I played with my sister's team, which was they were in 10th grade, so that was, like, right when, like, COVID was pretty big, so, we had our own little team, and we were just playing at tournaments, and, I was able to compete with them, so, that's when I started taking it a little more seriously, and then freshman year, I had a pretty good season. It wasn't, I mean, as good compared to my last couple, but I think, yeah, 8th grade is when it really set the tone because I was able to compete at the same level as girls older than me, so yeah.
Hmm. Did you have any particular coaches when you were young that kind of put you on the right path?
Yeah, so I've had Coach Liz, the Lake Braddock coach, was my first AAU coach. I played with her for a couple years, and then I played with my now coach. I've played with him since fourth grade, so I'm still playing with him. This is my last season playing AAU, but it's
What's his
Emma
name? What's his
Komeli,
name? Okay, okay,
Mohammed Komeli.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah,
All
I've
right.
played with him since fourth grade, and I think both of them have really shaped me as an athlete. I mean, starting out really young, I wasn't really that good. So, learning the basics and their training really helped me a lot of the times. Both of them, I mean, I still talk to both of them obviously now, but they're always looking out for me, putting very good words in with me for coaches, like just trying to do the best for me, which is really good. So, yeah, I appreciate both of them a lot.
Yeah. Do you enjoy AAU?
I do, yeah. I really like AAU because it's like a lot of the girls I play against, now we're all playing together. So I think it's a lot of fun because, it's just a whole another level of competition.
Do you ever think AAU goes too far and you play too many games? I know one of the criticisms I hear about basketball these days is kids don't work on their skills as that much. They really focus on games, and maybe it'd be better if there wasn't so many like organized games. How do you feel about that?
I actually do like the amount of games. I think at AAU, it's a lot of the time it's about, um, like getting your name out there and like having like playing for coaches and everything, while high school and like is for more training, which I do agree with. But I think like it's just a bunch of the good players coming together and playing. So we don't need as many practices and trainings to be able to play together. So I think I do like the amount of games we play because it's a lot of fun playing with the group of girls who are like all your level, playing against girls who are also all your level. I really like that. So yeah, I think it's good playing as much games as we do.
Yeah. Robinson is a huge school. So
Hmm.
I went to Oakview, then I went to Robinson as well. And I remember
Right.
when I went there seventh grade, it was just huge. And it's 7 through 12, and it's probably a little bit bigger when I went than it is now. But I mean, it's something that it takes a little bit of adjustment. How have you enjoyed
Hmm.
your experience as a student at Robinson?
I really liked it. In seventh grade, I was there for half of the year and then it got cut off.
Oh, that's
Um,
right. Yeah.
so my middle school was mostly online, but coming back into freshman year, I really like it. I like the amount of people. I don't find it too bad. I think I still like am able to like know a lot of people and still be able to talk to my teachers and everything. So I do like the amount of people that are there. Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm fine with
it's
it.
an amazing school. I mean, I'm so glad I went
Hmm.
there.
Yeah.
So what's the relationship now between the athletes and the rest of the student body? So when I was in school, uh, you wouldn't have believed this, but they had a smoking lounge at school, and there were cliques. Yeah, people like thousands of people smoked between classes. Um,
Hmm.
athletes were kind of different from everybody else. It was a little different. The games were well attended back then. It was cool to go to football and basketball games. But
Right.
are athletes, if you're on a basketball team, do people follow your exploits and people know about what's going on?
Um, I don't really think there's much of cliques at our school. I mean, the basketball team, like we have our Instagram and everything, so whenever we post it, like people do see it and they come out and watch, but not so much of like people like following us around or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, you're as a really, top player, two-time player of the year in the state. Obviously, I'm sure private schools have inquired about your about your services. Um, I think it's great that players like you and Jordan Scott play with their neighborhood school. It's just wonderful to be able to play with your friends and to lead your neighborhood
Hmm.
school, to victories. Have you ever considered going to a private school?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that last year, I was like, maybe I like should, but I ended up staying at Robinson because I mean, if I'm gonna get like out there, I can always do that in AAU and send out my own videos to coaches, which I can do during a regular high school season. But going to private school, you're not guaranteed anything. So I didn't want to like go out there and then, it have no impact on me. So I just thought about like if I stayed at Robinson, I could always just do um get like what's the word? Like be seen by
Yeah,
coaches during AAU. So
exposure. Yeah.
exposure, yes. I can get exposure at my AAU tournaments instead.
Well, I'm certainly glad you stayed, but given that the season went so well, would you say it was a very good decision?
I think so. I mean, as much as I love playing basketball to like play, maybe playing college and stuff, I do like playing with my friends and playing with against the girls I've always been playing against since I was really young. So yeah, I think it was worth it. I really liked this season especially. It was a lot of fun. It was my first year being captain, so I think it was really exciting. I liked this season a lot.
Yeah. So what was it like playing with your older sister? So, it's when you have a sibling on a team with you, and I wouldn't know this from personal experience, but I imagine it's interesting because you have a pecking order from home, and then you're on the same team. So what was it like to play with Amelia?
It was a lot of fun. Again, like I was saying, I played in 8th grade, and so I played with her. So, going into it, I was already used to it. We already had really good chemistry, again, like being sisters, but we also played like complete opposite positions. Like she was point guard, I was post. So like it was never much of fighting for playing time or anything. And we worked really well together. We just knew like who was going to be where and like how we played. So it was a lot of fun. I think it was just like one less person to have to study to get to know of and how they play because I already knew how she played. So I liked it.
Yeah. Is it more fun to be on a team as a freshman when everything's kind of new and you have older players who are more experienced, probably more developed at that time? Or is it fun this year when as you said before, you're the captain and you're relied upon to make a lot of the decisions and many of the big plays?
Um, I think there's perks to both of them. I liked my freshman year, there was like less expectations and less stress like on you because you are a freshman. So like you do really well, like that is good. But like now, my past couple like this year and last year, like at this point it's kind of expected for you to do that well. So, a lot of the focus is on you. So if you do mess up, it's more drastic than it would be um as a freshman.
Were you intimidated as a freshman playing against maybe seniors that were returning all district players and very smart about how they play?
Yeah, I was pretty nervous. I wasn't really expecting to play that much, but I think it was a lot of fun. I had a lot of people to look up to and um, a lot of people to learn from, because they have been playing for so much longer than I have. But yeah, I think it was a lot of fun. I liked being the freshman, but I also like being someone who other people can look up to as an upperclassman.
Yeah. Well, how would you describe Coach Dade's style?
Um, Coach Date's style of coaching is he's not really like too crazy, like some coaches are, but I think he's very well like he coaches us really well. Um, I mean, obviously we've had some pretty good seasons. So, I don't know, he's not really like again, he doesn't like he's not too crazy. So, he lets us players make some of the game time decisions, which is really helpful. I like that a lot because we're able to adjust in the game and he's always there like backing us up. But yeah.
Do your parents give you a lot of tips and constructive criticism after a game?
They tried to, but neither of them were huge basketball players, so they're kinda just going based off of what me and my sister have done for the past couple years.
Yeah. And as you've had success as a freshman, as an individual and also as a team, more individual success as a sophomore. Does has the pressure built or like when the season starts, you just expect this kind of success every year, or is it actually sometimes a little bit of a burden?
Yeah, so, as the years go by, I've definitely felt a little more stress going into it because, again, I'm expected to play as well as I do every game. So, thinking about that instead of just thinking like, "Oh, I just gotta play really well," like, "We just gotta win as a team," definitely has changed, as I've went on in years, but, yeah, this year was a little bit more because I was, like, an upperclassman now. So, again, every game I was expected to have double teams, triple teams, so I just had to, like, focus on that as well as, like, the team as a whole, so
Yeah. Well, coming into this year, obviously you're a better player. You have another year of experience behind you, but you guys have graduated more key players. And I remember
yeah.
at the beginning of the year reading that you and Elizabeth Berry were really the only scoring that was coming back this year. So
Mm.
going into the year, what were the expectations? Did you think you guys could once again do a three-peat and win districts, regionals, and go to state?
Yeah, I think going into it, we were, a little more nervous because, again, we had just graduated two of our key starters, but we knew we still had a pretty strong team going into it. We were all pretty confident. I mean, at least districts and regionals, like as we went on, we were like, all right, maybe, but going into states, we were pretty nervous looking at the other teams. But yeah, I think going into the season, we were expecting us to have a pretty successful and if not as successful season as we had the past 2 years.
Yeah, it's been you guys have been so reliable. It's almost like
Yeah.
when the postseason comes, we just figure it's time for Robinson to rise to the top. Now this year, you only had two losses during the regular season, and again, you lost. I think the Thomas Deal or Manchester, Georgia,
Thomas Dale.
Thomas Deal. So, but early in the year, Langley surprised you.
Yeah.
They had a hot shooter, Anya Rodman, I believe.
Yeah.
Was that game a big disappointment, or was this kind of a learning process for you?
Well, the last time we played them was freshman year. We only beat them by 3. So going into it, we were expecting them to be a pretty strong team. But yeah, going into that game, I think a lot of the team was just like basing it off last year, like, yes, we're gonna win. We've had a strong season. So I think it was really helpful for us to start out with a game like that because we weren't expecting like to lose or to not play like our best. It was the first couple games of the season. But yeah, I think we were expecting them to be pretty good, but we definitely just didn't play our best game and underestimated them as a team for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I don't want to focus on the negative, but then you end up
Yeah.
actually a surprise loss to Whitson. Whitson
Yeah.
hadn't been great the year before, but this year obviously they got into the regional final or no
Yeah.
regional
Final.
final. So they had a tremendous year, but at the time maybe we didn't know how good Whitson was going to be. That was an overtime loss. Tell us a little bit about that game.
Yeah. So we were that was our senior night. So there's already a lot of like stress and like nerves going into it. But then our starting point guard was out.
Hmm.
So I mean that's a really huge loss for us already. So we were down our point guard, and it was really back and forth throughout the game. And then EB then fouled out, I think in the fourth quarter. So then we were tied up, went to overtime. We're down two starters, and I think we weren't able to pull it out after that. But yeah, it was a tough loss. But yeah, I think it definitely taught us like you can't expect any. I mean, you have to expect like the word like you can't expect to win. And so I think it was a good loss for when it happened. That way going into districts, we realized we just need to go out, play our highest game against everyone. And yeah, you can't expect to win just because, you've beaten them the past couple years.
Yeah, I believe you called Elizabeth Berry EB. Is that
Yeah, yeah,
EB?
EB.
How would you describe her as a player? As a player,
I love EB. I've played with her since I was a freshman, so 3 years. She's a very all-around player. She's played post, and then going into our first year playing, she was put as a guard because she's a little shorter, but she was a huge shooter this year. She was um, very reliant when we needed her, and she hit a lot of the threes that kept us in the game or brought our lead back. And I mean, she dribbles. She's also a key defender. We put her on a lot of the players that we need to really lock down. So yeah, overall, I mean, she scores and she plays really good defense. She's just an all-around player that's super helpful for us.
yeah. Well, you mentioned defense. One thing about
Mm.
Robinson, the last 3 years, and this year, I mean, by the end of the year, you guys were locking down opponents, and most of the games were 20-point wins.
Mhm.
What is the key to that defense? Why is Robinson so hard to score against?
Well, we always focus on defense. Like that's our main focus going into it. And again, defense will lead into offense. So that's what we practice a lot of the times. Like that's what we preach. So everyone knows like defense is our main thing. And last year we had Amelia. She was defensive player of the year and the year before. So and then this year we have Maddie Coutinho, who was, I think, defensive player of the year as well. So, we have lockdown defenders and we really focus on help defense. So we force them top shoulder, like to go baseline, and then we trap them. And that's a key to our defense is trusting our teammates that they will be there and help. That limits fouls most of the time. But yeah, it limits fouls and it just like puts the team in a bad position. And that's where we get a lot of our steals.
Yeah. I noticed one thing about you. You do a good job of staying out of foul trouble. Now, I didn't see all the games, so maybe
Hmm.
there's some games you got in foul trouble. And
Yeah.
obviously, you're a player that Robinson does not want to lose early or have diminished minutes because of foul trouble. Is that something that you're cognizant of? Is really trying to play defense without fouling?
Yeah. There's a couple like big games where I get into foul trouble. So one of my main focuses is not fouling, but a lot of the teams will try to like take charges on me, especially because I am like a big presence in the post. So I have to be aware of how I'm playing defensively and offensively because I mean everyone's trying to take fouls on us as a whole, but on me especially because I'm usually in the middle, trying to block shots or you know drive it in. So yeah, it is something I'm always super aware of and something I focus on a lot during the games.
Yeah. Well, you got a chance to play Woodson in the regional final. It
Mhm.
was a chance for a rematch. Great game, and I got a chance to see that game. It was the first time I've seen you play live. I've seen you play on NHFS numerous times, but it was
Mhm.
great. I thought you guys played well. I was so impressed with the way you guys handled yourself in the second half under pressure. You didn't seem nervous. I felt your concentration level was really high in that game.
Mhm.
Tell us about the Woodson game from your perspective.
Yeah, so I mean, I think at halftime, I think we were losing, or maybe it was tied, but it was really, really close. And so in the locker room, I was telling the girls, like, we've been here multiple times. Like, this is not new for us. This is like new for Woodson. So we know how to handle the pressure of, not being up or being with this amount of people in the crowd. So, it's just something that we were used to. We know we just have to focus on ourselves and not let anything else bother us. And I think that was a lot of help. Being in that position before definitely helped us, play our game the whole rest of the half, and we ended up pulling it out, which was good.
Yeah. Well, so we lose to Thomas Dale in the state semifinals because you won the first game
No,
against
we lost it. We lost it in the quarterfinals against
quarterfinal.
them.
Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, that was a tough matchup. So tell us about the
Mhm.
Thomas Dale team. They came to Robinson. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were like, we've seen them, we watched them on film, but I mean, playing against them was completely different. It's a whole different level of play that they had. I mean, it was super fast. All of them were crazy athletic. So it was just a different pace of game that they had. And it was just, again, super fast. They were making their threes, full court pressing, which we've seen, but we weren't like used to a lot of the time. But yeah, I think we didn't play our best, obviously, but yeah, again, it was just completely different level of play. We weren't used to it.
You think if you played that kind of team 3 or 4 times during the year that you could have been ready for them?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I think so. I mean, it's just like something so unexpected. It's kind of hard to react and play like on the jump. So I think if we play them or teams just like them a couple times, it would have definitely helped us. But you know, can't change that.
Yeah, I mean it's a huge accomplishment. I never got out of districts, and you got to the state tournament for your third straight year. It's amazing,
Yeah.
and you have one more shot at it. Did we lose a lot of players to graduation this year?
Oh well, we lost two starters again, EB and then McKenna. And then Nina was our six man. So yeah, we lost three players, but they were pretty very important players.
So do we have players on JV and players that can step up and replace those players?
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. Again, like we lost two seniors the year before, but I think we'll still be a pretty good team together.
Yeah. Well, without giving away any secrets or anything, what are you looking for in the kind of colleges that you'd want to attend and play at?
I'm looking for. I mean, obviously, I want to go to a school that has what I want to study, but I'm still trying to figure that out of what I want to do. So, but I'm also looking forward to looking for in schools are defense focused schools. I mean, every team I've played on, it has always been a defensive heavy defensive team. The belief is that you win on defense, you win on offense. So, teams that are looking for strong defense because that's what I'm always um, playing for as well. So that's the type of team I was hoping to look at.
Yeah. Do and you can tell me I'm being silly if I am, but do players these days think about NIL and those kind of things when you're looking at colleges? Is that something that the players think about?
No, I mean, not me personally, I haven't, but yeah, no, that's not one of my big focuses.
Yeah, Caitlin Clark's making $2 million this year, so
I know, that's crazy.
it'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah.
So
That'd be definitely I wish.
yeah. Well, look, George, this has been great. I'm glad to meet you. I really enjoyed watching you play.
Mhm.
You're an amazing player. I'm so glad you're a Robinson Ram and I am as well. So I just hope you enjoy your off season and have some fun at AAU. I guess the pressure is probably less in AAU, right? Or
Yeah, yeah, it's not as bad.
yeah. So I hope you're able to enjoy yourself and you're going to play volleyball next year.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. Oh, great.
next season.
Oh, awesome. So hope you enjoy that as well. But I'm looking forward to your senior year and seeing what you guys could do then.
Yeah, me too. I'm excited.
Yeah. All right. Well, look, thanks again and best of luck.
Of course.
Okay. Thanks, Jordan.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, of
Bye.
course. Anytime. Bye.